right. To our little town of Corona. Oh boy. So it's about 55 today. Feels real good. It always feels like Michigan winter's long. It's not that bad. Hasn't been that bad for a couple years now. So this is 2021 600 touring. I've had it about had it 2 summers, but I've had it about a year and a half, just almost 2 years. No major repairs. Had a starter solenoid issue. When it was cold, it didn't want to start. Took it into a dealership. It was covered under warranty. Spark arrestor, factory spark arrestor, fell off while I was out of town. My son was borrowing it and said it got a little bit louder, but didn't recognize it, and melted the back. CFMOTO covered under warranty. It's about $1,000. New exhaust. Pretty much new blinkers, or not blinkers, but tail lights and stuff like that. But yeah, they fixed it. It ended up being like someone from the factory cross-threaded a bolt, drilled and tapped it, did it not correctly, and caused the bolt to back out, loosen the other ones. That's what it seems. I don't know, but there was something in one of the holes. I'm working in manufacturing for 25 years, those types of things happen, those types of repairs happen, and I don't hold it against CFMOTO in any part. It's just a part of, things happen. Some things that I did is when I was doing clutch tuning to my quad, I stripped out one of the cover bolts. Had to put a drill and tap it, the aluminum housing around the CVT housing, and put a helicoil in. Worked. It's a really nice unit. I have I guess my primary kit is my own. Secondary Spring is Main Street Cycle, and I chose to go with the Main Street Cycle Helix-Trail. Do a lot of business with Main Street Cycle, really like them. Joel, the owner, seems to be a stand-up guy. He's always answered any questions that I've had, and I bought my parts to them. I've utilized a lot of their sales when buying parts. I have on this unit, I have front bumper, rear bumper, the side mirrors, windshield. I do have the CFMOTO, I guess they're the grip arms. Use them for ice auger. But yeah, it's great. It's a great unit. Definitely not the same unit I bought, as in performance. The clutch kit. Oh, and I have an MSC Tune clutch kit and the Tune. Huge night and day difference. It's unbelievable. I can't speak for other tunes. I can't speak for other clutch kits, but what I have works. You know, I've tried different springs, different weights, all different combos. Use Drag Racer app, feel. You know, I don't know. I mean, I'm not saying that anybody else's clutch kit's better, but I don't see it get much improvement of what I have. I learned a lot by doing my own clutching and reading on what other people were successful at, and just did it. Really enjoy riding. This is things like this 600 touring's like a Cadillac. I mean, it's a loud machine. It's a single cylinder. You know, in my area, I don't have trails. I have to go to up north, you know, in the Leota area, or you know, Baldwin, or you know, Houghton, Higgins Lake. There's a couple of riding parks throughout Michigan that you can pay to get in, and you know, I do that as well. I have I believe 1,600 miles on this unit. Just offhand, you know, I've always changed the oil and diff fluid at the same time. So my first one was just under 200 because I was going on a ride. The second one was at 500, and then I did another one at 1,000. So I did basically the recommended 200, which CFMOTO recommended, and then the extended 300 miles put me at 500. So again, I did a quick oil change, and then at 500 when I reached 1,000. So I've been doing an oil change at every 500. I use Shell Riola, I think that's the way you pronounce it, T6, and then I use it's a filter H152, I believe, and then I get the gear lube. I can't remember what the gear lube was I use, but it's a full synthetic. I believe it's a Valvoline. I don't remember the ratio right offhand. It could be like 75-90, something like that. It's whatever the CFMOTO recommendation in the owner's manual was, but I did go synthetic. You know, I remember the first time I changed the dip fluid, I looked at the magnet and said, holy cow, you know, and then every time that I've changed it afterwards, the magnet doesn't collect as much. It's a broken machine. I mean, I'm confident I could literally rip the hell out of this thing and it would be good. My son gets on it and he doesn't hold back any. He just nails it. He likes it. But you know, with the drag app, I can't remember what the 0 to 60 is. Well, first of all, it doesn't go to 60. GPS, I hit like 58. Speedometer, I hit like 54, 55. My tires, I drove with the stock tires on for the first 250 miles, and then bought some, what are they, SunF or F-Sun or something, tires. They're an 8-ply tire. I went one size up, and it made my speedometer go a little bit, but I think speedometer was off before that. I just never GPS checked it. I really like the tires though. They're good tires. But yeah, I really like the 600 touring. You know, I really debated on the getting the 800. My family is not experienced riders, and I wanted something that my kids can take my grandchildren on. So I wanted a touring. I wanted something that they could grow into, you know, and learn, and then possibly years down the road get something like an 800 or the 1000. So I do think that the 600 Touring was a good choice for me. And then with the performance stuff from Main Street Cycle, it definitely made it more peppy. Only one concern is the engine noise. It kind of does drive me nuts, but you know, when you're hitting the trail and hitting the dust and stuff, it's not noticeable. It's just all fun. We had bought a side-by-side this year. We bought the Z-Force 950, and we'll do a ride with that later. The windshield is a nice feature for winter riding. I do winter riding with this. I do have heated grips, and the nice hand guards are very, very nice. With the heated grips, I can still wear a nice winter glove that's thin, not a bulky one, with the heated glove and heated thumb warmers. Just moderately, even on cold days when you're riding, you do kind of work up a sweat. But summer riding, I take the windshield off. I do like the mirrors. I don't like the mirrors when riding by myself. You know, they stick up. You know, I like the stock machine, but the mirrors, I do ride with my family a lot, and they're not real familiar with trails and how they work, so normally I'm the leader, so I like to have the mirrors so I can see behind me, make sure that they're staying caught up. When doing this county riding stuff in my area, they're nice to have too. When you see a car creeping up behind you, you can pull over. With the helmet on and the engine noise, you can't really hear a car. You know, I've done all my, you know, the first thing I did when I bought the unit is when I brought it home, it was very exciting for me and my wife to buy something that we could take to our cabin and have people ride and stuff. But the first thing I did do is I went through everything, and every nut and bolt that I could possibly find, I tightened. And then I bought a torque wrench, a larger one and a smaller one, and I went through things that had torques. You know, your differentials, your oil plug and stuff like that. I went through and made sure they were all torqued. My rims, made sure they were torqued. And you know, I read a lot of stuff, and people were saying that, you know, this stuff, they found loose stuff, and I did find loose stuff. It amazes me that the cost of the things that you're paying your dealer to do, like setup and stuff, that it's still an issue of getting your grease zerks greased. You know, every day I see people post, just got a new machine, there ain't no grease in there. It happened to me. I asked about it before I took it, and they said, oh yeah, we did that. And I got out and I'm like, yeah, that ain't done. So when I got home, first thing I did, I actually had a couple of issues with some of the grease zerks, wouldn't even let me put grease in there. So I went to the automotive store and bought the same size new ones and pumped one time, and grease easily went in there. So I don't even know what the grease zerks that CFMOTO use are good ones. I don't know. They just didn't. A lot of them I couldn't get grease into. But when I put the different ones on there, it was good. Every time I wash it, I spray everything down in the shocks and stuff with silicone spray lubricant. I did do WD-40. WD-40 collects a lot of dust. The silicone lubricant, when it dries, it's not as doesn't collect as much dust. Oh, see, look at there. Don't even feel like we're going that fast. It's a Cadillac. I did the mod before I even got the Tune and stuff. I did cut the filter housing. I did this Vontae Verigo had I followed his page because I understood he was doing a lot of the clutching and stuff or the performance stuff for the European teams, and he had put down that you could gain a lot of low-end, mid-range due to air volume, and it helped the machine breathe more. It was less restrictive, and I did that, and I did notice it. I felt it, but you know, it's kind of, you had that noise too from doing it. You can hear in that air box it sucking. So I also put a UniFilter in there as well. Dude, if you don't have a UniFilter in your ATV, get one. Do not, I repeat, do not use a K&N filter. I'm not saying that they're junk. I'm saying that the particulate can pass through them because they're designed for maximum airflow, and they're good for cars, but I don't think they're great for ATVs and side-by-sides. The UniFilter is a foamed filter, and the way that it filters particulates but allowing the airflow is phenomenal. You know, it's washable too. It's great. I actually have two for both of my machines. Not to say that I can't clean them, but if I'm having issues and I'm out in the field, how am I going to clean it? Because I forgot to do it some other time, or you know, when I get up north, it's dusty sometimes and it just sucks it right in. So, you know, I got another one that's already pre-oiled, throw it in there and finish my day. When I get back to the cabin or my hotel or whatever, put it in the sink, cleaned up, spray it again, and we're good to go. I have two clean filters, you know, but I want to end the ride because I don't have a clean filter. Oh, absolutely beautiful. So we went over the mirrors, why I think mirrors are important for me, and what I like and don't like about them. We talked about the windshield. Again, it's a CFMOTO windshield, and I do like it for spring and fall and winter riding. For summer riding, I don't want it. It's hot. I want as much breeze on me as I can. It does get really, really dusty, so it's not something that that you need to see through or anything, but it's just nicer with it off in the summer. Yeah, it's funny, you know. Get those guys that are all bragging about their Can-Ams and their Polaris and stuff, and you know, today we're just out doing some road cruising. So, you know, I bought a new GoPro. Been trying to learn how to video. You know, I have two of them now, so I'm gonna think about ways to set them up for some riding videos. You know, I want to start doing some product reviews. You know, I have a lot of accessories on my machine, and you know, a lot of people show you how to install them, but they don't tell you what they're like after 1,000 miles. You know, I've gone through salt, sand, snow, mud, you know, got stuck a couple times, used my winch, blew a belt because my bearing went bad. My son was going about 60 miles an hour. He's a little bit lighter than me. He was hammering it and blew a belt, shredded it, just shredded it. But all said and done, it ended up being a bad bearing, and that was around 1,000 miles. that could have been my fault. You know, I had done so many clutch kits and tore it apart so many times. I could have done something that caused that. You know, I did not know what I was doing when I started. And luckily, you know, with video, I learned a lot. It's great things that we have these YouTubers out there that are supplying us with videos. You know, again, Blake from Real Talk, Justin Creator. Yeah, I give that guy a bone, man. That guy is a video genius. He's got a skill. He's got a skill, and you know, when I first started watching his videos, he seemed like he was a lot like me, kind of new to the working on, you know, mechanical things. And then you seen him doing a clutch kit and he struggled, and I'm like, yeah, I've been there, you know, I did that. And then as he's grown into like product reviews and video, and he even started like in like last year or whatever, the beginning of last year, he was doing how-to video, which was cool, you know. And he took a little break, and he's back, and he's been kicking out videos with Blake, like partnering up, you know. Joel, when you're watching the Real Talk videos, Blake's normally videoing Joel, and Joel, I don't know these guys personally. I know them from video, and I have chatted with them on Facebook Messenger, and you know, I've asked them questions and they've responded. You know, you tell them that it's that Mike guy from Michigan, and they'll probably know right who I am, because I comment and stuff a lot on their things. It does feel like I know him because it seems like I watch him every day. But Joel is the guy that's riding, and he really gave me a perspective of that was fun. He really gave me a perspective of what these machines really do. You know, I'm surprised, you know, because like right now I'm driving a utility quad. You know, it's not a racer, it's not nothing, but this thing will go through anything you throw in front of it. You know, it is just, and this is just a 600. Those new 500s that came out are nice. CFMOTO just improved the new 600. Yeah, it's a huge improvement. Like Blake just had a video the other day about Joel was on the new 600, the 2023, which has 5 more horse, and basically it smoked the 22. I mean, I don't know how far they were at, but Joe had like six leaks on them at least, and you know, those are just 2 stock machines. But I bought into the CFMOTO. My wife's family, she had a couple of cousins that bought a couple of 500S's, and I rode them, and I was quite surprised. I had a lot of fun on them. And my sister-in-law bought one the next year, and I told my wife that I wanted to buy something, and then I seen the 600 2-up model, the touring model, so that's what we bought. And we've had 2 summers on this and 2 winters. I bought it in the spring, so yeah, honestly, probably 2 years now. And it's been great. My wife enjoys it. She feels comfortable on it. It's got enough pep in it. It scares her at sometimes, but it's something she can control. The clutch kit made it a lot better for the engagement. When I put the Helix in the Tune in it, she had to get used to it. It definitely when she hit the throttle, it responded a lot differently than it did prior. And when I mean a lot differently, I mean a lot differently. The engagement was the same, but you couldn't push on the throttle as hard as you once did because it set you back. I had my son Matt on the seat, and we were in high, and I gunned it because he wanted to say, "Oh, how's this tank thing?" I gunned it, and it wheelied, and I had to let off the gas because I think we would have put it back. And then I told him, you know, low's probably worse, but that was, I literally had just put the tune in, so I wasn't really prepared for it. So it was a good surprise. But yeah, the mid-range on this is way better. I mean, when Real Talk through MSC did their video for the 600 EC Tune, and he showed that in the mid-range this machine dipped down, I always felt that. And so when I was watching that video, I was like, man, that is realistic. They're not just throwing that out there to make themselves look good, because I drove this machine for almost a year to that video, and that's exactly what I felt. When I got around 30 miles an hour, I felt a lack of power. I was like, what just happened? And then it would kindly gain back up, and I'm like, well, that sucks. So, you know, I did the secondary spring, and that helped out because I was at B2. I tried C1, then I went to B2, and then I didn't want to go to B3 because my tires weren't that big, and I was losing miles per hour. So I got the secondary spring right back to normal. I didn't even feel like my tires grabbed good. I didn't, you know, I still had that low end torque, but I gained maybe a mile or two in top speed. It was kind of a weird thing because I thought it was going to be like similar to B3, but because the spring is a little bit longer and tougher, or something about the length of it is giving you a little bit of top speed back. The Helix definitely made a big difference. I mean, as soon as you gun it from a dead stop, the Helix, it's in a lower range. And then the way that the progression happens in the Helix to the shift out, you can feel it. So that's how I got some little bit more top end back, and I got a couple of more with the Tune. You know, overall the 3 top speed, I probably got 5 miles back with the secondary spring, the Helix, and the Tune. But if you're 5 miles at the top end, it's like double in the mid-range. I mean, the horsepower in the mid-range with the Helix, the spring, the clutch kit, and everything is night and day compared to the stock setup. You know, and again, I'm not saying that my clutch kit, or, you know, I wouldn't even say it's my clutch kit, you know, because all I did was mess around with the primary, and I utilized the secondary of Main Street Cycle and the secondary of the Helix-Trail. I can't speak for their primary because I don't have one. I think it'd probably be rather close. I'd love to try one, but I don't want to buy more. I mean, I have 4 different springs in my basement and a whole different weight set range from 10 grams to 22, so it's not like I want to go out and buy more when I can mess with what I already got. Those springs at Main Street Cycle are exclusive. You can't find them on anybody's site. They're, you know, Bonte Vergo, I believe, is the direct supplier through that for them. So, you know, again, they're probably paying a lot of freight and import tax to get those here to the States, and they're, you know, buying them in bulk, and so they do cost a little bit more than if you go to a local supplier that's selling trail block components, springs, weights, sliders. I know one thing though is I've tried some highly recommended belts and for both this unit, which I said I blew this belt, and my CFORCE 950 Sport, the factory belt is by far superior over even the high expensive aftermarket belts. You feel it physically when you're touching it. You can see it. It just looks like the workmanship and the material wise is superior. And then the difference, I mean, I've actually taken a aftermarket belt, put it on, drove it for 50 miles, couple of, 10 miles here, 15 miles here, 30 miles here, whatever, do a couple of cool down, warm up things with it, and I took it off. I put a new factory one on there, and just a different feeling. Now this is an M road in the state of Michigan. You can legally be on an M road if you go to the nearest crossing. So I am not purposely driving on an M road to break the law. I'm driving on an M road to cross to the nearest crossing. So that is legal. Probably wasn't legal to go over 25, but I am totally grateful that I, can get my machines out every once in a while and put around in them and not get hassled. I mean, we'll see a police officer probably here and there, and I'll wave at him and they'll wave back at me. You can ride in any municipality in our county besides one on a quad or a dirt bike. In that one municipality, you can ride everything but those two. They're without getting through all the jargon, it's basically if you sit on it, you can't. If you sit in it, you can. So golf cart, side by side. They do not allow go-karts, but they do allow side by sides and golf carts. But the rest of our county, we can ride whatever. Fortunately, this city right here, you can ride whatever as long as you're following the rules. I'd like to hear your comments. What do you think about the 600 touring? I definitely have enjoyed it. I will probably never get rid of it unless, I get to where I can't ride it, but sure one of my family members would enjoy it. So, I take care of it. I mean, I do ride it aggressively on trails and in areas that I can. I'm not I know this is not a boat, and I'm not going to pretend it's a boat, and that's not my thing. But my thing is, I like aggressive trail riding. I do like mud, long as it's not submersion. I love the snow. I hardly ever put it in four-wheel drive. Probably the winter time it's in four-wheel drive the whole time, and in summertime I don't hit four-wheel drive much unless I'm going through a creek and I think it might get a little muddy, and I'd rather go through with all four and then other than having to stop because I'm stuck, and then put it in four-wheel drive. There's some guys that I follow. Simply New England, I believe the guy is. Really nice commentator. He has a CFORCE 950. I watch him. We talked about Justin the Creator. Justin Drake's his name, and then Blake from Real Talk, and the guys at MSC, and Oh yeah, you know, I mean, I talk a lot about MSC, and I talk about, you know, I buy products from MSC, but Redneck, you know, I've talked to him. He, you know, he's a very knowledgeable guy, and you know, I wish him the best, and I like talking with him. I like watching his live streams and his videos. I wish the relationship, whatever happened, I'm not a drama guy, and so whatever's happened between him and Main Street Cycle is between them. But I do watch him, and he does know stuff. Well, I don't want to downsize it. He knows a lot, and he's a good tool. I just have a good relationship with other creators as well, and I've communicated with him. I have a connection that, you know, from a guy, Rob. Rob's a great guy. I met him at our thing, and I've had a connection with him, and he's always picked up the phone when I called and listened to me, and he knows the business from sales, general manager, and he's a rider, so I can bounce a lot of ideas off him, or things that, you know, I'm looking for, and he helps me out. So I've come really accustomed to utilizing that, and yeah, there's a lot going on in the CFMOTO world, and I'm enjoying it. You know, I love my machines, and I love the accessibility to the accessories that have been coming in the last 2 years. You know, it hasn't been lacking. People say that. You know, people say that, you know, they're, you know, it's not K&N, it's not Polaris, you know. But, you know, I'm an Android guy. I don't have an iPhone, so I'm limited on accessories for my Android too. But CFMOTO, I believe, is making a name, and, you know, I've been on a couple of rides with groups, and, you know, I'm riding along, and they're like, dude, that K&N's nice, and I'm like, dude, where'd you see K&N on this? This is a CFMOTO. Oh, that's that Chinese thing. I said, you didn't say that 10 minutes ago because I passed you. Or, you know, oh man, I bet you that thing breaks all the time. No, every time that it's ever broke wasn't on the trail. It actually happened. It was either my, you know, I'm not saying it's my son's fault, but if he would have heard that noise a little bit, if he would have had more experience, he would have known that something happened to the exhaust, and he probably would have stopped and said, oh, hey, there's something missing there. But it happened really quick. I mean, when you're out riding and you're just whipping on it and that exhaust is hot, it don't take long to melt stuff, and that's exactly what happened. You know, just like it doesn't take long to, on a dirt bike, to touch the exhaust of your leg and burn it. Yeah, let me put this in, you know, oh, the cat. I'll put it in low and you can get some kind of, I don't know, you know, I'm not good at videoing. All right, so it's in low, but this thing will, like, see, I mean, it bounced right up, but I'm, you know, I'm not, I was just trying to stand up, but I mean, the tires are not touching the ground. You can feel it from a dead stop. It's just, it's not touching the ground. It's not, I mean, I'm not like those guys on YouTube that are doing wheelies, but it's definitely, I mean, it come right, they probably come up like 2 inches. I mean, if I probably did what they do, like, you know, lean back and pull it up, it'd probably wheelie. You put a guy on the back seat and do it, it's gonna wheelie. I don't care if it wheelies. I just care if it, when I give it the throttle, it goes down the road fast. You know, we went up north this winter, and you know, when you're going down those seasonal roads or those trails or whatever, and you're doing, you know, you go around the corner, you punch it, you know, you slow down about 20, you punch it, you come out of that corner around 35, and you're blazing down trails, and all of a sudden you look down, you're doing 45, and you know, you're you're coming up to another corner and you turn it down and you're doing a little bit of drifting around a corner and you're hitting it. This thing, that mid-range, is where that happens. It is phenomenal. You know, again, I totally know that this is not an 800. This is not a 1000. This is a 600, and it's a touring. You know, it's longer, it's heavier. You know, I have realistic expectations of what this is, and the clutching and the tune passed the expectations. You know, it's a contender. Now, the new one with the 5 horse, I imagine putting a clutch kit in that and putting a tune on it and, you know, putting some tires on it, I bet you that thing's gonna be just a beast. I mean, it's already a beast. You know, if I wanted another ride, you know, say because I have this, I have my side-by-side, and if I was to buy another quad, I'd probably buy that new 600 over the 500. I thought about the 500. You know, I like the new design with the way the racks are. But that new 600, I definitely like it because I like this 600 and it's just like it. Like that 5 extra horse, put a tune on it, put a clutch kit in it, put some accessories that you like on there, make it your machine. You know, because that's what this is. It's my machine. Alright, and that's my other machine right there. Look at that. Alright. Woohoo! Well, that was fun. Oh, hey, the gas light's on. Alright, well, that's the wraps, folks.